Hey, it's DIY Gemini, and today we're making some last-minute vacation thrift flips. Let's get into it. It's summertime, and I am getting ready to go on vacation for my birthday in a couple of days. As you know, I am a June Gemini, so we are going to the Caribbean, and of course, I decided to do a last-minute DIY for vacation. I actually leave in a couple days, so we are really down to the wire. In fact, probably by the time this video is uploaded, I will already be there just soaking up the sun, and I'm so excited. Yes. Okay. When I was looking for some fit inspo, I actually found these crochet pieces that are like super duper cute and really on trend right now. So I don't know how to crochet, but I do know how to sew. So the plan is to go thrifting, find some pieces that have some crochet elements in them, and then rework it by sewing to make a crochet adjacent new piece. What I was looking for at the thrift store were some pieces that had like some crochet elements in them with like some holes, so it's like a really breathable, looking for some swim cover-ups kind of deal. So we're looking in the sweaters, we're looking in the dresses, also even looking in the textiles, because some of those placemats are like kind of lacy and crocheted, you know, those could be potentially cute, or like a knitted blanket that's more lightweight rather than like a heavy one. These are what I found in the last couple of weeks in the thrift store, and this is what I plan on making it into on the right of those finds. I only have time to get through 4 of these, but you know what, time is ticking, so let's go. First on the chopping block is this Ann Taylor knit sweater top thing. I think it'll be easiest because just get motivated to start with the easiest project and just making this into a skirt. So basically we're just going to use this as the waistband. I am going to make it high-waisted. We're going to cut the sleeves off and then make it into a skirt. So let's show you how to do that, and let's go. So before we get started, we're going to take some measurements. You want to take your waist measurement and your widest measurement, which is usually your hip. So I'm just going to take those notes. So here is the shirt, and we're going to basically cut right there, right across. Alright, so we have the bottom zigzag stitched all the way around. I kind of like that it's super raw still, but I don't think it's going to unravel anymore. To have a better fit, I actually took in the waist a little bit, so I still need to be able to get in it though. So we're just going to sew one side with a straight stitch and the other side with a buttonhole so that I can get in and out of the skirt. I'll leave a link on how to sew a buttonhole and a button in the description below, as well as upload a short later on how to do both of those things. She fits. All right, let's take a moment to see where we started. All right, next on the chopping block is this piece right here. This one is vintage. This is already cute as it is, but we're just gonna turn it into a tank top, so it's just a little bit more versatile. I can wear this with jeans or a skirt, so still starting off real easy. So we can keep that motivation train going. Okay, let's go. And I'm gonna take this top from Uniqlo that fits me how I want it to fit this one. And we're gonna cheat and use the seams on here so I don't have to sew those later. Work smarter, not harder, right? Alright, we're gonna sew straight stitch down these way. Actually, after looking at it, the neckline looked a little wonky, so I actually ended up opting for a square neckline, which I think I like better because it's a little bit more modern. So we're going to do thinner strips than I had originally planned, but it doesn't look that bad actually. So what we're going to do is roll these in twice. So it's going to look like this from the inside, and then roll this. After trying it on, it ended up being too wide, so I'm going to shorten it by cutting the back layer in half and taking it in there with a straight stitch down. And this is nice since it has vertical stripes already, so I'm just using that as my guide of where to sew. Move forward with a straight stitch, and then I like to go backward just to secure that stitch, and then go right back forward again. So for the bottom hem, we're going to fold this once, fold it twice, and then we're going to sew all the way around. It was laying a little funny before, so I actually took some of the sides in by just tapering up a straight stitch inwards. I did shorten the strap so it fits a little bit better. So let's look at our before. Alright, next we have this number. This is super, I think, coastal beachy vibe. At least that's what it gives me. It is by Nautica, pretty vintage, I think. It also comes with this crazy metal clasp. Like, that's really intense for a top for me. So we're not going to use that. What's also interesting about the shirt is that it has a hood. Yes, cute, right? I guess. So I'm going to just transfer this into another type of tank top. I'm going to feature something at the tie front instead of having this crazy buckle. All right, we have our top inside out. I want this to be 15 inches tall, but we're going to have a half-inch seam allowance. And since I'm lazy or smart, that we're doing this from the bottom, so I don't have to hem the bottom. So I already measured 15.5 inches from the bottom here on both sides, but I want it angled. So what I'm going to do to mirror the angled, because, you know, our shoulders aren't like, you know, yeah, they're angled like this. So I'm just going to use that angle here. Just going to bring that down. And let's do that. Right. Cool. We'll do the same thing on this side. So we'll use the existing shoulder seam and then we'll just bring it down. Find the middle here. Looks like it's around there. Okay, let's pick a point that I want this to be at. This is super arbitrary. Like here. So what we're going to do now that it's lined up here, right, is cut here, we'll cut there, and then we'll start to cut the circle for the back. We're not going to cut this line quite yet. So just here, here, and here. Yeah? All right, let me just cut this out of the way. Moment of silence for this buckle though. Okay, bye. We're just gonna make a U shape here for the back. Get this out of the way. Okay, let's cut this, this, and this, but we're only gonna cut through the front. So we'll take our front pieces here, and since the sides are still attached to mine, we're gonna line this up armpit to armpit here, like that, so that we only are dealing with the front layer. The back layer is right here. So this way we get an even cut for both. now that when we open it up, you'll have the back panel, the two front panels, this, like this. And we don't have to do anything with the bottom, which is fantastic. And then we're going to also roll this. Do zigzag stitch across here, and we're gonna roll our hem around so that we're gonna close the raw edge on the inside of our sleeve. Okay, so I'm finding with a lot of these fabrics that we're using, since it's a million holes, it has a tendency to get caught in like this little foot here, like this, and it'll get jammed. So don't try to force it. Don't try to pull it off or like push too hard. Basically stop, lift up the foot, move it and finagle it where it doesn't get caught anymore, and just keep going. The idea is it's better to go slow, especially with this, because if you're pushing and pulling and forcing it to go, you're going to break a needle and it's not going to go well. We have our sleeves sewn and hemmed. We have our neckline hemmed as well. So we have still this raw edge in the middle here. Before we get to that, we are going to make the strings. So here's our scrap piece from earlier. I am going to take one of the sleeves and cut that off. Here's our sleeve, and then I just cut it open. So we just have a big rectangle. And I think what I'm going to do is basically just roll this up and sew it, I guess. Because with regular fabric, you can make like a tube and then turn it inside out, but this is gonna be way too bulky to do that. Alternatively, you could also use ribbon if you want to. I'm gonna try to stick to the same material though, so it looks more consistent. So I have a 1 inch wide strip that's 18 inches long, but what I'm gonna do is just fold this in half and then basically faux serge it by doing the zigzag stitch, and then that's going to close and make our tube. It's a little big and a little chunky, but I don't mind. So I cut 2 strings around 7 inches long, and we're going to take the little corners. Remember where we made that V? I know it's a little squiggly now, but remember where we made that V and then there was a straight line? Where that bottom of that V is, we're gonna sew this to one side and then sew this to another side, and that's it. You could either sew this by hand or sew this with the machine, either way. And we're almost done. Yes. Again, let's see what we started with. So for our next piece, we are using this really cute dress. I'm going to remove the liner here, and then we're gonna make this top short situation. We're gonna make this bottom portion into the shorts, crop this into a top, and we'll see how it turns out. Never made shorts before. I've only made skirts, which are very simple cuts. I think we can do it though, and we're just learning new things every day. So first things first, we are going to take out our liner piece. What's most important is making the shorts. So I'm actually going to focus on the shorts first and then with the top, because the top can be technically as short as I need it to be. I have a pair of shorts that I like the fit of. These are high-waisted. I'm probably going to make them a tad longer so they can flow a little bit better. But yeah, we're going to follow this as my template for the shorts. So we're going to have 4 pieces for the short. So it's going to be 2 front pieces, 2 back pieces. So first I'm going to cut the 2 back pieces. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. Don't really need that, but here and here. I don't even know if I have enough fabric for this now. Oh no. I didn't have much fabric for the front. Definitely have plenty for the back. I'm hoping this will work. So here's that curved piece for your bottom. So we're going to sew along this first. And then we're also going to sew along that curve for the front. And then we'll see you next. Since it's, I think a straight stitch wouldn't work as well here. I feel like a zigzag stitch would work better for my machine. This is a number 3. This is going to be the width of our stitch, so how far wide it goes, or if it's less than this. And then the length of our stitch, which is going to be up and downwards, how far apart the little zigzags are going to be. I usually keep this at 2. The 5, I might decrease it a little bit, just to like 4 millimeters, and that should be straight. So what that does, it closes the fray at the end as I'm going. So I like that. I don't have a serger, so this is like basically faux serging my edges. And it's really important as you're going through, do not try to like push or pull. Since this is really stretchy, I try not to stretch it either, because that's going to stay stretched when you stitch it. So try to just easily guide the material through and don't go too ham with the sewing. Just take your time. So we have our front, we have our back. The back is significantly bigger since I had more fabric planned out for that, but don't laugh, guys. So we'll have the right sides facing each other, meaning this is the one that's going to be facing outside, right? So this is our seam that's going on the inside, right side facing up. And then we'll have right sides facing down on the front piece. We're going to line up. I'm going to cut that. We will sew here, here, and then our crotch here. I'm still going to be using that zigzag stitch. I want it high-waisted, so I want it all the way like up here. And whatever measurement of your waist, you're going to do 2 inches, about 1 inch to 2 inch more to overlap so we can sew it together. I have this soft 1.5 inch thick band elastic. This one's a lot softer. I think it's meant for lingerie or more like delicate stuff, so this is perfect application for that. I don't want something too rough or too tight. We still want it to be a relaxed fit. So since our elastic is 1.5 inches wide, we're gonna have to make a channel for it that's a little bit bigger. So say 2 inches. 2 inches, and that should give us some wiggle room for it. So you see how I have everything pinned at the 2 inch mark, since this is 1.5 inches. So this just gives us a little wiggle room to put our elastic in there afterward. You're going to do this basically all the way around, but you're going to leave one hole, like opening, like say, I'm going to mark myself here, and I'll mark myself here. So you're going to sew all the way around except for this gap, because that's where we'll put the elastic band afterward. We'll get to that step in a minute, but yes, so pin all the way around and sew all the way around except for that gap. I like to put the gap at the side seam so you're not seeing it from the front when we seal it back up. Everything's gonna be hard to see anyway with this fabric, but okay. All right, so we have our channel sewn all the way around except for this hole that we left open. This is where we're going to put our elastic on. So one end I just arbitrarily attached it to the short so that it doesn't fly through when we're threading this in, because we want to keep that other end out so we can sew it together. To make it easier to push through the fabric, I'm going to attach a safety pin, and since this fabric has a lot of holes in it, just be careful because your safety pin's going to want to come out one of those. Otherwise you could just push this through pretty easy. The safety pin just allows to push through some fabric. All right, so we made it to the other end, and I can unhook this from there. We can pull that out a little bit more. So basically you're going to sew the ends together. Since we left 2 inches of room, we could do anywhere there. I'm just going to do a bunch of zigzag stitches to secure these together. One thing though, before you do that, make sure that the elastic, since this is a thicker one, you want to make sure they're not like flipped or twisted or anything like that, because that's going to be really annoying when you put it on. So just make sure it's flat and make sure it's the same way, and then you're just going to sew it together, and then after that we'll distribute out the fabric around the elastic. So let's do that. One last time, throw it back to the original dress. All right, we made it through 4 vacation outfits. Last minute, I am so tired, but we made it through. I haven't even packed yet, but we'll do that tomorrow. Thanks you again for watching, and I'm probably going to be posting more pictures of these fits in action on my Instagram at Hi DIY Gemini. I'm also on TikTok as well, so I'll probably be posting a little bit more after vacation. Happy Gemini season, everyone. Happy birthday to me, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.